Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to be making cargo pants, just like you can see in the thumbnail. So if you want to learn that, keep on watching. We're going to first of all cut out the trouser parts before we now do the cargo, the pockets. The measurement I'll be needing for the trouser will be my trouser length, my crotch length, round thigh and round waist. This is for a plus size girl, right? So I want to use 3 inches band. So I'm going to place my tape from the 3 inches band. You're going to cut it out, right? So I'm going to place my tape from 3 inches, but I won't start from 3 inches. I'll start from 2.5 inches. This 050 is going to be the sewing allowance, right? So I'll start here. My crotch length on this outfit is 17 inches. So I'll mark my crotch length, then I'll mark my full length. My full length is 48 inches. So I'll mark my full length as 48. I'll come here and mark the same thing again, and then I'll connect everything together. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to come here at the waist side and go in by 1 inch here. Then when you go in by 1 inch, you connect this 1 inch down to this crotch length, this as such. Now we have done it. It is from this 1 inch that I will now measure out her round waist. Her round waist is 35 divided by 4 is 8.75. So I'll mark the 8.75 here, right? Then I'll also mark sewing allowance 1 inch here. I'll come to the crotch length here and come in by 3 inches this way. Then I'll connect this line from here to here. I'll connect it together. And after connecting it, I'll now draw, like, you know, the crotch, sort of how you connect your armhole. So this is what we are having. So this outfit is going to have, like, you can see that it has that overlapping band, right? That's where I'm going to put the zip. So I'm just going to measure out, say, 2.5 this way, and then just go straight and curve it this way. You see what I did? So this is going to be the part that's going to cover the zip, right? So this is what we are having. So the next thing, I'll come to the full length. I don't think you can see that, and then I'll just come in by 2 inches. You know, this is a boot, this is a loose pant, so I'll just come in by 2 inches at the full length here. I know you can't see that. This is what I did at the full length. I just came in by 2 inches this way, right? Yeah, so I'm going to connect from here to that 2 inches. I'll connect from here to the 2 inches. So this is our front part trouser. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. I won't cut this out yet. I want to cut the back side before I now go ahead and cut it out. So what I'll do is to fold here in. We don't need here. And I'll iron it out. I want it to be this way because I want to cut the back pattern, right? So I'll just iron this out this way. I'll now use this as it is to cut the back. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to place this one on top of this from the beginning here, right? I'll place this here from the beginning. So at this beginning side there, at this full length, what I am going to do at the waist here, right, I am going to start or like come down by 1 inch here. This is 1 inch, okay? Then from this 1 inch, right, this is where my trouser is going to start from. I hope you can see what I'm doing, right? For the back side, you start from the beginning here and mark out 1 inch. It is from this 1 inch I'll now place my front pattern, right? Yeah, the reason we are coming down by 1 inch here is because, you know, the back side, you have bum. You don't want it to be like drawing down. You want it to be fitted very well, right? Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So at this back side, at this side, what you're going to add here is 2.5 inches. This 2.5 inches is going to be the darts, right? And also the sewing allowance. Remember, we've already added sewing allowance inside here, so I'm going to add 2.5 inches here. You come here and mark 2.5 inches. That is what you're going to be needing. Then you also mark the 2.5 inches down then mark 2.5 inches to the full length. That is what we are going to be using, right? Remember at this 1 inch that we came down, right? You see what we have 1 inch. We came down here, and then we added 2.5 inches there for both back dart and sewing allowance. We already have our sewing allowance in the front part and back. So from this 1 inch now, we'll connect this back to the side of the front pattern. Okay, so this is the center back. You can tell this is the center back, so that's the part that has the higher measurement, right? So this is what you have. So what I'll now do is that I'll just use my free hand and connect this down here and form our bum. This is what we have. So I'm now going to connect this 2.5 we added. That's the sewing allowance here. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. So we'll now go ahead and cut out this for both the front and the back. Then we'll open up the sides. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take out the back, come to the front, and mark out our pocket. We want this outfit to have pockets. So I'll come here and go in here by 3.5 inches. I'll mark here. Then I'll come down by 6.5 inches and mark here. Then I'll connect here together, this as such. But when I reach this end here, I'll go in by 0.50, like this connection that is here, right? It is going to stop at 0.50. So you go in by 0.50 here. It is from that 0.50 that you're now going to connect straight here. So do you get? Yeah, so that is what you are going to be doing. So I'll go ahead and cut out this. So you saw the way I cut it out. You see the 0.50 straight if I now cut this out. And then you can also see the fabric itself straight if I now cut it out. So you keep this up down. Don't throw it away. So we can nice and cut the pockets. This is the pocket I'm using, right? I didn't have any specific measurement, right? Just anything. This is 10.5 against length 14, right? So this is what I have. I have 2 of them. This is it, right? This is it. So we are going to open it up. You're not going to cut 2 of them. You're going to cut just one side of this, right? So you're going to open it up. Then you're going to place that side you cut out from the pockets from the main fabric. You place it this way. Can you see? Then you use it and cut out this side. Remember, you're just cutting only one side of this pocket. So this is what we have now. So you can see that we just cut only one side. This part is full. So this is what we are going to use. This is going to be our pocket. The next thing we're going to cut now is the band. So guys, for the band, I'm measuring out 3 inches across, right? I'm having 3 inches. I'm going to measure out the length of the band, which is this way. I'm going to measure out 46 and then cut this out. Then I am going to be adding interfacing stay to this band I have here, so that I can make it tougher. Yes, then before we now go ahead and cut our the pockets. So the next thing we'll do now is to fold this one, just this side though. We'll fold it 0.50 and iron it down. So this is what we are going to have. So I want to now go ahead and couple this trouser. After coupling it, then I'll go ahead and cut the cargo pockets and add to it. So here I am coupling the trouser. I am starting from the center front. You see that place that we added that 2.5 hour lap. Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and sew it down to the end. That's basically the crush side. Next thing now is to open up that sewing allowance, like that place you closed off, right? When you open it up, you're going to fix your zip. Okay, so when you start fixing your zip, you are going to measure out. Your zip is going to start from like 1.5 inches. That's what you need to start sewing, right? But remember that zip has like space before it starts. So like put that into consideration, right? You can see how I placed my zip. It was still above the 1.5 measurement that we marked out. The reason why I'm marking down 1.25 is because this is a high-waisted pant, and at the front you don't want your pant in front to be overly. By the time you give it that contour, then you cut off the band, everything is going to sit down properly. So you go ahead and sew the zip all the way down to as low as you can. Just follow what I'm doing. It makes sense. Next thing now is to carry that part that you sewed, right? You're going to carry it over to the other side of the sewing allowance. You can see the way I pushed it, like you're going to use the zip and push it out so that you will sew the zip. Just carefully look at what I'm doing, right? So you can follow it along. You will sew the zip down, and then when you reach the down part, right, towards the crotch, yeah, ending of the crotch length, right, you are going to make sure that you overlap the sewing of the band that you're sewing on currently with the other band that we originally placed our zip on. I hope you can see what I am doing. So you're going to turn it gradually. Just do this slowly. You have to run your thread so that it will coincide with the former thread, the former sewing that we did. I hope you can see how I did that. Please watch this carefully so that you can see what I did. So by the time you turn to the front, you can see how it looks in front, right? This is how you want it to look. You can see that at the down part, the two threads, they coincide, so it's going to cut off. There's not going to be any stitch being loosened, right? The next thing I'll be doing is to sew up the pockets. For the pockets, you're going to get that part that you cut off. Remember the part that will cut off 3.5 and 6.5, right? You get that side and join it to the main material. The right sides facing each other, meaning that the wrong sides are going to be facing away from each other. So after sewing that, you go ahead and top stitch this material, this pocket. You're going to top stitch the pocket side. You move the sewing allowance and then the pocket, under the pocket side, and then top stitch it very closely so that it is going to lay flat. We are done with the pockets, right? We are going to go ahead and sew the back side. You're going to join the center back together, and once you are done with that, you join the front and the back side together, and then sew that at the back. You measure your round waist divided by 4, right? And then that place, let's say is 9, you divide it by 2 because you folded it together. Then let's say it's going to be 4.5. You now place your tape and then measure the 4.5. The remaining space there will serve as your darts. Then the length of my dart is 5 inches. You remember that 1.25 that we marked at the center front here? So I folded my outfit together, right? So I'm going to mark that 1.25, just the front side. Then you're going to now connect it to the center, the side front, right? So you can see what I'm doing. So you go ahead and cut off that place so that your front pant, when you finish adding the band, is not going to be way high. So I'll go ahead and sew down this pocket that we cut off. Remember the first sewing that we did on this trouser at the center front, right? Remember that first sewing we did. You go ahead and untack the thread, like remove the thread there. By the time you remove that thread, because we've already added our zip, you will see that it's correct, right? So you go ahead and that's the overlapping. I hope you can understand what I'm doing here. Yes. Then after doing that, we'll now go ahead and fix our band. When fixing your band, we are going to fix the part that we didn't sew, like that part that we didn't iron or 50 inwards. After sewing that, we will now go ahead and then turn it inwards and then sew between the space between the band and the main material on the front side. I hope you understand what I'm saying, but look at it well. With that, the thread is not going to be visible. You have neat finishing, the thread is going to be in between that space. So guys, now we're about to cut our cargo pocket, right? So this is the length of my pocket. The length of my pocket is 10.5 basically. Then the width is 12.5, right? So what I'm going to do now, this is going to be the front of the pocket, this is the back side. So I'm going to turn this wrong side facing each other, so this is the correct side, right? So I'm going to iron it down. I'm going to iron this down. I'll come and mark out 1.5 inches from beginning to the end. I'll mark 1.5 inches here. I know you can't really see, my shock is not really showing well. That is why I am showing you this close up, right? Because I don't want to use a shock that is going to show in this clothes. So this shock is emerging into the outfit. That's why I'm very close, right? So this 1.5 inch, I'll go ahead now and sew this place down. I'll be back. So you can see that I've gone ahead to sew this, right? So I'm going to open this up. So it's flat like this. I'll iron it down. Next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead. This is the upper part, like the part that is going to, you know, be close to the overlapping of the pocket. So I'm going to iron this down, and then I'll go again and iron it down this way. I want to put hemming gum to, you know, to hold it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and turn this place this way, 050, here 050, and also here 050, and iron it down. This is what I have now, right? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to get my band. Next thing I'll do now is to mark out my band. My band I'm going to be using will be 3 inches. So I'm going to mark 3 inches here and cut out the band, as long as cut a very long band here. So now I've cut out the band there, right? The next thing I'm going to do is to fold this band 050 050 like this, okay, like sort of a bias, and iron it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to just sew down this place at just this mouth. So you can see I've gone ahead to run this stitch, right? So the next thing we are going to do now is to bring this band that we folded like a bias, right? So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to start from here that we did this stitching, right? Then I'll place this way from the beginning. You can see that it's starting from here that we did this stitching. Then I'm going to pin it down. I am going to do the same thing for the whole, you know, this pocket. I'll pin it down. Then I'll go, you see the way I went this way at this edge. The reason why I'm doing this way, I'm attaching this one, is because I want my pocket to have that 3D effect, so it's not like flat. I hope that makes sense. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel and then thumbs up this video. So now we have reached here. See that I didn't cut out this band, we have reached here. I'll now go ahead and cut this band out here, so that I say you should do a long strip, right? So you can always use it, because my pocket is not just one. So you can see what I've done. So I'll go ahead and sew on top here, very close down. When you're sewing, make sure that you're not sewing this one join. No. So what we want to do now is to fix our pocket. We've gone ahead to do everything. So I've marked out this line. I want one of the pockets to be here. So what I'll do is to place this here. Then I'll take this side of this band that we had, and then I'll fix it here. Okay, I'll pin it down. Then I'll take this other one too, and as I'm pinning it down, I'll make sure that it is overlapping with this. You see how I'm doing it, that is overlapping with this one. So I'll take the upper part out and then pin this down. That is how you are going to do it. Also the same thing here, you pin, you pin, you make sure it's coinciding, then you pin also, this one, and then make sure that it's styling here. So once you're done pinning it, you will now go ahead to the sewing machine and sew it down here. But after sewing it down, you also sew here down this part. You see here, you sew it down and stop here so that it's attached. Do you get? So that's what you're going to do. So you first of all sew this one down round to the end, then you keep it down, then you sew this place down, and then your pockets will be fixed. I have about 10 pockets. See all the pockets I've already done, so I'm going to fix all this in the trouser. You guys already see it on the thumbnail, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. If you look closely with what I am doing, you see that I first of all confirm that the band, sorry, the pocket is overlapping with that band before I now go ahead and sew just the band. I confirm that the pocket is overlapping with the band, then I go ahead and sew just the band. That is what I am doing till I reach the end. Then I'll now go ahead and also sew that beginning part. Remember I showed you, yes. Before you cut the flap, right, the cover of this pocket, you're going to measure from here to here to have, see what you have. I have 7.25 here, so I know that by the time I finish sewing my cloth, I'm going to have 7.25. So probably what I am going to have cut out is 8.25, so that I'm going to use 050 for sewing allowance, right? So what I have here now is 10.9.5, right? So I'm going to be using 1 inch as my sewing allowance. I'm going to sew it this way, then I'll come to this side and give it this. I want it to have a shape, so I'm going to do this at the edges and then sew 1 inch. Can you see? This is what I have. So I'll sew this and then sew it this way, and then I'll turn it and iron it. You can put your interfacing, you can put like collar stay so that it's more structured, right? Yes, I am going ahead to sew the cover right now, right? So after sewing it, you're going to turn it, iron it down, and then top stitch it. You're going to be leaving like 0.25 space from the end, and then that's why you're going to like top stitch so that it's going to lay flat. So this is the finished product. You can see how everything is looking very neat and fitted. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thumbs up this video. I'll see you in my next one.